Tori the Crafty Girl here, and today I'm going to show you such an easy project that you can complete probably within 30 minutes. It's something that you can easily sell at markets this time of year. You can make it and give it as gifts, and it'll help keep you hydrated. It's one of these water bottle holders. I have been obsessed with these. I use one on the regular because I forget to drink my water, and I always carry my emotional support water bottle. Once I sat down to make one of these, I realized really truly how simple it is and what a great beginner project if you're just starting out with your circular knitting machine. So this project itself, like I said, will take you about 30 minutes. It depends on how much you want to embellish your project. So I just used really fantastic yarn, and because I used really fantastic yarn, I didn't have to do color changes, I didn't have to do any patterns, and that definitely saves time as well. You also are going to cinch the bottom, so you're not going to have to get that waste yarn in there at the bottom. We are going to use it at the top just to get a nice crochet finish there. And then for the straps, you're actually going to need whatever you want for straps. You can use I-cord like this. I just use the Addi Egg. You could crochet straps. You could use ribbon. There are so many ways. If you use ribbon, this project will take you like 15 minutes. Anyway, this is my finished version just to kind of show you here. For mine, I actually do include a little key fob here because I know that when I'm carrying my water bottle and maybe I want to put my little house key on there, it'll sit right there. And if you like this type of content, it would mean the world to me if you liked the video, shared it with others, and even subscribed. So that way you're going to get notified of any future content. I'm constantly coming up with new patterns and ideas, and I do a lot of free tutorials. If you do want to support the channel, you can head over to Etsy. I have been posting digital patterns over there, but I'm also going to give you a lot of this content for free because I just enjoy doing it. So with that said, let's dive right into the fantastic, super easy water bottle holder project. Oh yeah, and if you're wondering, it is June and I am wearing a scarf because it is freezing in this basement. It's like 65 degrees at any given time. I'm not complaining since we just had a 91-degree day yesterday, but anyway, brr. For this project, you'll need your circular knitting machine. I'm actually using the Addi 22 pin. So this I find works up perfectly for those metal reusable water bottles. But you could also use your Centro 22, or if you even have a hand knitting loom, you can use that as well. I know that they make the little small ones that have like 24 pins, that would work as well. You'll need some yarn. I'm using this Lion brand Ice Cream Collection Raspberry Ripple. And then you'll also need just a little waste yarn. This is what we're going to cast off with. And then your crochet hook to finish the end. And then whatever strap you are going to be using. Like I said, this is a very great beginner project because it works up quickly and it doesn't require a lot of advanced techniques. So we are going to cast on, and I know a lot of people do things differently. I'm going to cast on, this is going to hold my pin, and then I'm going to cast on all the way around, behind and in front, until I get back to the actual yarn guide right here. So we just go around in front, just like this. And then I always set my counter back to 0 before I forget. Once you get back to that pin, you're just going to put it into the yarn guide. And now, guess what? We knit. We're going to knit for this project 45 rows. I found that to be 45 to be the best number. I did one for 50 rows and it stretches a little. It's a little too tall. So I like 45. And that's it. We're just going to keep knitting until we get to our 45th row. So I'll come back to you once we get to that point. All right, so we are back now at 45. And then I am going to keep about 1.5 yards of a tail, and that's so that I can crochet off my ends comfortably. So I'll snip that right there, and I'll take my little yarn tail, put it in the center, and then waste yarn. Now waste yarn what I will tell you, I get this question pretty much every single day, why do you use waste yarn? So waste yarn helps make your finishing of your project a lot cleaner, a lot tighter, and in my opinion, a lot easier. So you could take this tail and you could pick up all the loops with the darning needle, but then you have these really stretched out loops and it doesn't quite look finished. So for me, I pick them up with waste yarn right here, and then I'll show you when I crochet finish the end, it just looks a lot cleaner. So that is the one reason to use waste yarn. And then I'm just going to go around a few times. And then keep going until it falls off the machine. Gets a little stuck there. Now that we cast off, we're going to give our yarn a little bit of a stretch. We're just going to stretch it out. The colors work up so nicely on this. The only thing is when you're doing your own color changes, you'll see here it's very noticeable when there's a shift in color. If you're doing your own color changes, you can actually really control that and make it not noticeable at all. It doesn't really bother me. And I just love, again, how quickly this project works up with this yarn. So we're going to actually start with the cast on side. This is our cinch side. So all we need to do, so this is the side that we started with at the very bottom. Remember, we didn't use waste yarn. So all we need to do is we just need to pull that yarn tail. And that yarn tail is going to cinch it for us. One little tip I just want to make sure you're aware of is as you cinch, make sure that you tuck your yarn inside the cinch. If you just pull it without doing that, you'll end up with some bulk out here. Kind of looks like it's exploding out of the tube. So we just want to make sure that it is inside, just like that. Now I'm going to pull this yarn tail through the center so it's on the inside. So in fact, put my hand through here, find that little center, and pull it through. And then I'm going to turn it inside out so that we can finish this bottom, because we do want this bottom part right here to be cinched up so there's no hole. And then all I do for this is really, really simple. I am going to go and just create a knot back and forth through the bottom, and it's just reinforcing the bottom of it, tightening it up so that there is not a hole down there. There are many ways you can do this. I do, depending on the project, I'll actually get a little bit more fancy with how I finish it. But this is really going to be hidden on the inside. In fact, let me show you what the outer is going to look like. So this is going to be what the outer looks like. Again, it's at the bottom of your bottle, so it's not even going to be noticeable. So if you are, trying to finish this quickly, this is a great way to do that. But I will go through like 4 or 5 times making knots just to make sure that it is secure. Now, because it's also on the inside, and you will never turn this out right side out, like there isn't a reason for you to ever do that. You could hide your tails 100%, but again, we want to make this as user-friendly as possible. So we are just going to cut our tail like that, and this is going to stay on the inside. It may make its way to the other side as you use it. If so, just pull it back to the inside. Okay, and here, this is what our bottom looks like. Now, one other thing to be mindful of, if your bottle does not have a concave bottom, most water bottles, hopefully you're not using disposable water bottles, but sometimes if you're out and about and you don't have water with you, you may come in to possession of a disposable water bottle. If that happens, those do have a little bit of concave on the bottom, and I think most water bottles do. Mine that I'm using here for a sample does not. It's a pretty flat bottom, so you just want to be very mindful on how much bulk you're putting there at the bottom. So now that we're done with that, we are going to do a very simple crochet finish to the top. And for those of you that are just starting out and may say, okay, I don't want to do crochet, I just want this to be as easy as possible, you certainly can just go through, thread your needle, and then, thread your needle and then just pick up every one of these loops right here. It won't look as pretty, but it's definitely something that you can do. So I'm just going to use my handy little crochet hook. This is not my favorite crochet hook, this one. I can't read this. My eyesight is like the worst these days. But I think this is like a 4 maybe. Maybe it's upside down. I don't know, but it doesn't really matter the size, but we do want to make sure there's enough stretch at the top so that it can accommodate multiple sizes. So what I recommend here is using a single crochet, and I'm going to pick up the loop on the right of the separation. So this is when we cast off the machine. This is where it was cast off, and then we added the waist yarn. So I always pick up that one first and then that one. In fact, I'm actually gonna tighten it up just a little bit. Okay, so now I have 2 loops on my hook, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch to start this. So what I mean by that, I'm going to pull it through like that, so then we now have just the 1 loop here. And so now that we've done that, it closes up that little hole, which is going to be really nice. And then we're just going to pick up this loop right here, so we have 2 again, yarn over, pull through the first loop, yarn over, and then pull through both. And we're doing that again to give it a little bit of extra stretch at the top, and it'll look really nice when it's done. So pick up the loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and then pull through both. And we're going to continue to do this all the way around. And I keep my tension really, really loose with this. So as I'm going through, I'm really keeping loose tension just so that we do have enough stretch for other size bottles. So pull up, pull through. All right, and we'll go all the way around and come back together. All right, now we're back here where that gap was, and you'll see there's only 1 little piece of yarn right here. We've gone through the loop, so we know that it's protected, but it's gonna look a little wonky because there's so much space there. So I would go back through the loops, and I would finish it off with a slip stitch again. So just pulling that through like that. And then pull the rest of your yarn through. In fact, I could trim this, but I just want to show you. In fact, I am going to trim this. It's a little too long. I do want to keep a bit of a tail. It's going to help me as I put on the strap. Actually, there is yarn on the strap, but just cut that. Okay. And then you'll see that there's still stretch here, so this will fit over your bottle nicely. And then we're going to take off the waist yarn. So the waist yarn, because it was at the top of your project, so as you cast off, you should be able to just pull that waist yarn off. There shouldn't be any issues. It should just be very simple, just comes off just like this. And then I always, no matter what, double check to make sure that I did not miss any loops, because even though I'm paying attention, I mean, I'm multitasking. So I'm just going around making sure everything looks good. Okay. So here is the base of our project. Now the next step is going to be to add our straps. So whatever type of strap you decide to use is perfect for you. You can use that ribbon that you have. You can use a crochet strap. You can use pre-made straps. Whatever is going to be, again, to your aesthetic as well as your skill level. So I use the Addi Egg, and I love making I-cord. I think I-cord is one of those things that is it's so versatile. And especially for straps when it comes to something like this. So this is what it looks like. This is with the Addi Egg. I think there are 6 pins. I'll show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is what it looks like. It's kind of like a little mini Addi. It's the Addi Egg. And it does only work on really thin yarn. So it's more like for DK weight. So like 3 and below, it seems to do well. When you're working with anything a little bit stronger than that or thicker than that, it definitely has some issues. Also, sometimes it can get caught, so you'll see that there's a little bit of an issue there, but honestly, I don't think that's going to be a problem for me. So now we're just going to attach our straps. That's it. So you can use, if you left a tail or however you want to attach. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take one side, and I'm just going to stitch it to the side. So I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm really just going to take my yarn, stitch it through there, tie it off, and then hide the tails in the strap. But I am going to make an aesthetic decision here. And what I mean by that is, see how this is bright pink? If I stitch this on here, it's going to be really noticeable. You're going to be able to see it there. So instead, I'm going to use this lavender color that I left on. But before I do that, I do want to tie it off so then it gets secure, because we didn't tie it off when we finished the project. So I'm just going to pull it through there. And I'm going to come to the inside so that it's not noticeable. Make sure everything is nice and tight. There we go. And then I'm just going to do a single knot. What do you call this knot? Do you call this an overhand knot, a single knot? I've heard people refer to it in many ways. I've never been into knot making. I just kind of learn things as I go. So I was always taught that it's a single knot, right? Like you go through with the yarn, go through the loop, and give it a tug. Now that's a double knot because I did it twice, but let me know what you call that. So now it's nice and secure, and we're going to take our nice little strap here, and then we are just going to weave it to the project. And I am going to go under this last row of crochet stitches here as best as I can. Okay, so just back through from the front to the back, back to the front, and I'm just going to do that all the way across and then turn it to the other side. Okay, so that's our first secure stitch, and then I'm just going to turn it. And then I'm just going to pick up some loops around the edge to secure it even more. Because your water bottles can get pretty heavy, right? So you definitely want to make sure this is as secure as you can possibly get it. Okay, so let's just double check. That looks pretty good. It looks secure. If you give it a nice tug, it's not going anywhere. So then we just need to make sure we tie it off. Luckily, we have that piece of yarn here from the end of our strap. So I am going to do a double knot. So there's 1, 2, and then we're going to hide those tails right in the strap. And I'm using a wool needle. I really like wool needles. So in fact, let me show you what this looks like. So this is very hard to see. A wool needle has this really hard plastic tip, so you can put multiple strands of yarn through here. Makes it a lot easier than trying to fumble with this one to get it to work. Also, this is a metal needle right here, so it goes through the yarn very easily, and it doesn't split it as much as some needles do. So I really enjoy using my wool needle. I'm actually going to put both, again, time saver here. So I put both of them on the needle, and then I can just go through my little strap, go up as high as I can. That looks about right. And then I'm just going to pull them all the way through. And then trim off the extra. Easy. Love it. All right. Now you'll see one thing right there that's a little annoying to me. You can see that lavender. I actually went a little too high up instead of at the bottom. It's still secure. It just doesn't look as clean. So yeah, so I make mistakes. It does happen. So I'm just right now, I'm flattening out the strap so that it isn't curling when I attach it to the other side. Go. And then I found the easiest way for these to line it up is just to fold it in half like this, just like that. And then this pink isn't as noticeable as that bright, that
really bright magenta color. So I am just going to use this one for this side. And we're going to repeat the exact same process. So coming through the back. Go. And then I'm going to go back through. Come through. And I'll repeat this process and I'll meet you back here to wrap up. Okay, and the last couple of things that I like to do is I like to add my little tag here. These I actually made with the Cricut, and I am going to be putting these and other styles available over on Etsy. So if you work with yarn crafts and you're just looking for some cute little basic designs, you'll be able to find them on Etsy here soon. Let me know if there's a specific design you're looking for. I had a really hard time just finding basic tags, which is why I created my own. I didn't want anything, I didn't really want my brand or anything on there. I just wanted like a cute saying. So I just created this design here, and I'm just printing them on my Canva or on my Cricut. And then the last thing that I'm going to add, I added a little crochet heart to this, and I'm putting my little keychain just because I think it adds just a little bit of something extra. And here we have it, folks. Let's put our bottle in. So that is it. That is all there is to this project. Like I said, I promised you at the beginning, this is a really great beginner-friendly project. It works up very quickly, and it's super useful. So you could make these and give these to your friends and family, or if you are a maker who is doing pop-ups, these are a great thing to make as long as you do the right colors, because right when you're out and about, you want your hands free, but you need to stay hydrated. So that's it, everybody. Hopefully you like this content. Let me know if there's other projects you want to see. And until next time, see ya.